Hey everyone, welcome back to Life in Between the Lines. I'm your host, Allison Vaughn, and this podcast exists to help you read in between the lines of scripture and then also for me to share what I've done and what you can do to apply this book to your life. So, I'm always trying to stay true to the brand. And last week we did more of like a Bible study type vibe. And then this week when I was praying about what to talk about, I was feeling like not like in a stump creatively, but normally it's like I know going into the week what I want to talk about, and I was like, I don't know. And in my business meeting with God, like every good CEO does, you go back to the mission statement and the vision for the brand or whatever you're doing. And I feel like I've had trouble maybe communicating like my vision for the podcast and like what you're supposed to get out of it and how you are supposed to benefit from this. But God kind of helped me through like what he shared or like kind of some ideas that he dropped in my brain. So kind of the scenario that he gave me was, okay, so like this is a book. After all, it's a book. So my goal is like, this is life in between the lines. And my intent behind this is like, we are in between the lines of this book. Like we should live our lives like this Bible is the foundation of our life. Like we're reading this, we're in between these lines, but we've still got to like, all right, pause Bible time. I love reading my Bible. I love spending time with God, but I can't do it all day long. I got to go eat. I got to go make food. I have appointments to get to. I got to go to work. I got to go to school. I got to go to get groceries. Random things. We've just got a life to live. It's not like we're putting like our faith on pause when we're just not reading or praying. Like our faith is our life. We should be living out our faith in everything that we do. So even if we're not like reading the Bible or praying, even if we're putting a pause on the actual reading, it's like I'm still living out my faith. I have a life to live in between these lines, and then I'm going to come back to it. And it's like just thinking of this as the foundation, and then our life is kind of like the details and then like the testing and the trying of that faith. So because God put it into perspective, like, hey, it's a book, he made me think of a fantasy book. So I don't read fantasy. I don't like fantasy. But I think I had to read it for like class or something. I think I liked it when I was younger. I don't think I liked reading when I was younger. But anyway, fantasy, like when you're reading a fantasy book, you feel like you're really a part of that world. So you go about your day and you're excited to read your book at night, and then you open up your book, it's time to read, and you just feel like a part of that world. Like you feel like you're one of the characters. You can just like envision it. You can feel it. It's like, wow, I am like putting reality on pause to go be in this next reality. And then suddenly your eyes get tired and you got to close your book and you got to go to bed. And it's kind of like escaping reality to go into this like false reality, but it's still fun. With that perspective, God kind of spoke to me like it's the opposite with this, is that like the Bible is, when I say this, I don't know if you can see my hands all the time, but this. If you're listening, you definitely can't see my hands. And it's like the Bible's like our reality and like the foundation. And then this life is just like how we live out what we know about this, if that makes sense. And I just thought like, okay, if God is really God and he's really the author of life and the creator and like he's big man upstairs pulling strings, then if we know him and have a relationship with him and know like the beginning and the end and everything in between, then like we've got the whole cheat code to life, and we like should be doing better than we are maybe, or maybe it's just me. God just kind of put it into perspective. Like life's a game, life's a beach. I'm just playing in the sand. Like it's a game. It's a test. Like it's very real, but it's just not as big and scary as we kind of make it seem, I guess. And maybe what do I know? I'm 23, but this is my podcast. You can't take this mic from me. But if I know everything that's going to happen, and if I have a relationship with the sovereign God who literally holds earth in his hands, I'm going to be okay. And like, he's my partner. And it's like, this is just a test for the afterlife. So like, how can I do better? How can I be better at life, basically? And then he was like, well, that's kind of your life journey. That's what your podcast is about. Like, it's all right, from what I know about this, when I go test you on that, are you going to pass the test or are you going to fail? Like, are you going to be able to recognize what it is? I guess what I'm getting at here is being able to recognize, like to see life for what it is and to be able to recognize what trials and tribulations really are, like seeing them for what they are, but then also seeing when the hand of God is on your life and seeing God's blessings and being able to acknowledge and recognize that. Because life isn't just bad things. It's not just trials and tribulations and suffering. Like, there's amazing things. This life is so good. And God's hand is all over this world and this earth and in us. And God is everywhere, and he sends abundant blessings every day. So with everything that makes up this life, if we know God, I feel like we've got the cheat code to life. And I guess my goal for life and for this episode is two very different things, is for us to like really just see things through the lens of God, because life's going to be a lot easier that way. I feel like a good example of what I'm talking about is you pray for patience and then you're tested the next day. It's like, well, yeah, why'd you fail the test then? If you knew that's what was happening, why'd you fail the test? And that's kind of what I'm getting at here, is like, if we're able to recognize and see things for what they are, I feel like we could struggle less and conquer more. Like, if we just have better recognitions to the sequence of events in our life and like are able to document things. Like, if you're struggling through something particular, look back like 2 pages in your journal. Like, what were your prayers? What were you asking God for? And see how it correlates. Like, I think it's a little bit of a cheat code. So Genesis 3, this is where we see it first, where we see a lot of things first, and we can learn so much from Genesis 3. It's crazy. So God created the earth. He created man. There's Adam and Eve here, and he gives them this beautiful garden, this beautiful home of Eden. Before we go to Genesis 3, let's go to Genesis 2:15 first. The Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend and watch over it. But the Lord God warned him, "You may freely eat the fruit of every tree in the garden except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat its fruit, you are sure to die." That's the command. So it's like, okay, this is us reading something. This is us reading. This is us in the lines. We get our command. You can have everything ever, but you can't have this one thing or you'll die. It's not that I don't want you to have it, but you're going to die and I don't want you to die. So it is his protection. These aren't just rules out of nowhere. That's God's protection. Okay, right after God gives his first boundary guardrail, hey, don't do this. The serpent. The serpent was the shrewdest of the wild animals. Coincidence? Right after they hear this, the devil comes to test. And you know what he says? He says, "Did God really say you must not eat the fruit of any of the trees in the garden?" "Of course we may eat fruit from the trees of the garden," the woman replied. "It's only the fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden that we're not allowed to eat. God said you must not eat it or even touch it. If you do, you will die." "You won't die," the serpent replied to the woman. "God knows that your eyes will be opened as soon as you eat it, and you will be like God, knowing both good and evil." The woman was convinced. Wow, Eve. She saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it too. At that moment, their eyes were opened, and they suddenly felt shame at their nakedness. So they sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. We could easily be like, wow, Adam and Eve, like PR in like how quick you can fold. Like, way to win the fastest fold time ever. You get a command from God. You get, I don't even know what to call this actually. Like, is it a command? It's like you get a restriction. It's not even a restriction though. It is their protection. I don't know, a boundary, something, a rule. God sets his first rule in place. Immediately after, the devil comes to test that rule, and Eve fails. As much as we can easily just dog on Adam and Eve, we are Adam and Eve constantly. We are Eve. Like, we fold faster than Eve sometimes. The second God gives restrictions or lays down the law, the devil will come and tempt it. And if we can see that in our lives, then I feel like we would pass a lot more tests. And it's not like every time God wants to teach you something, it's just immediately going to be test and trial and tribulation. You're going to have to be tested to learn it. It's not always going to be like a suffering test. For me, I was like, ooh, I remember in soccer, I was like, I'm going to play for an audience of one. I'm going to play for the Lord. Like, I really don't care about any of this. I'm just going to be grateful for everything. When I decide to do that, I tear my ACL. And this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying every time that someone decides, all right, I'm going to give up sports to God, you're just going to have an injury. Like, God's not like that. But however he chooses to test you, maybe he will give you all the playing time in the world, all the accolades, and be like, what are you doing with this? Are you going to give it to me? It's like, it's blessings and trials. This life is filled with all of them, and he will decide which one we need to learn a specific lesson. He's going to test us, and he knows how we're going to best respond and what will really turn our heart towards him and what will get that lesson in our head. So for Adam and Eve, it was to test them, but they failed. Because free will, we can always fail. God knows that it's always going to be a possibility. It just sucks because there's truly no test that we cannot conquer, that we'll never be tempted into something that we can't do. Like if we really choose to see temptations for what they are, we can always overcome with the strength of Jesus and the Holy Spirit that's in us. But we just don't always do that. We don't always pause and be like, all right, what's actually going on here? And I think if Eve did that, and that's what the devil wants to rush you, and he wants to distract you. So then you just kind of like make a decision in haste, and it's like, oh, I fell into sin. But slow down, see everything for what it is. If you're praying, God, I've been noticing there's some anger in my heart. I don't want to be angry. Like, please get this out of me. And then the next day, like all these random things come up. Like you're sitting in traffic. This road has never had traffic. Or someone decides to like spill coffee on your white furniture, something crazy. And it's like, that's not a coincidence. So don't lash out in anger. Be like, God, I see what you're doing. This life literally is a game. I'm not going to get angry. And guess what? These trials are a blessing, because once you overcome that, it's like, wow, I used to literally ruin my day over something like coffee spilling, or, oh no, I forgot an extra set of this, or I don't know, just things that we would like just tweak out over. Maybe we don't have to, and that's a blessing. Although the testing and the trying is like suffering, it is a current suffering. Once you conquer, then he's giving you peace. You've just got to go over that hump to then do that, because I used to be very angry. So now that I've surrendered that to God, it's like, well, maybe I don't have to ruin my whole day if like a little inconvenience happens. That's a blessing. Thank you, God. I needed to be tested to then overcome. So we definitely see it in Genesis 3, and like there's just unlimited examples in the Bible and in your own life and in everyone else's life of like, we hear something, we hear from God, and he's going to put that to the test. Like, do you want to obey or not? And like that's the whole walk of obedience. Genesis 3 is just a perfect example. And it's like, when it's not us, we can see so clearly what's happening, or even in other people's lives. Like, I think it's such a blessing to have godly community around you, because when you're struggling with something, they might be able to point it out like, no, I see exactly what that is. Like, I can see that that's an attack of the enemy. Like, you got this. This is temporary. Or you can see like, no, that's actually going to be God working, because every attack of the enemy is God working, because God is smarter than the stupid devil. Sometimes, we can't just bring every single little trial to other people and be like, what does this mean? Help. And you can bring it to God. But one thing that has really helped me, and this was totally gifted from God, because I am not able to do this on my own. Pretty early on, God just kind of like instilled this, thought process, I guess, in me of like life in between the lines of like, your whole life, you're going to be learning something from me. I'm going to be teaching you something, and then you're going to go do it. Like, you're going to go perfect that, and then I'm going to teach you something new, and then you're going to get good at that. And it's just like, that's what sanctification is. That's becoming more Christ-like. To become more Christ-like, it's like, okay, I've got to get rid of all of the sin in my life, all of the bad that's on me. Through that, he's got to teach me, hey, this is bad. I'm going to give you an example to choose me over the bad thing, and then make that a habit. And then once you're done with that, next thing. Like, that is sanctification. That is this life. So that is life in between the lines. And the thing that God like gifted me with the ability to see was anytime I would see like something come up that I know was like in alignment with what I've been praying for. Like if I've been praying like, God, help me get rid of, like, help me have patience, like the patience example. And then I just feel like, oh my gosh, I've never been so irritable. I feel like my patience has never been tested. He's been able to have me like pause. I always feel like it's a literal zoom out moment. It's like, this is a game, Monopoly. Literally pause, Allison, zoom out, sit with me. And then I would always think, what would the devil do? And he's like literally like just helping me to see the devil's schemes. And he's like, if you are praying for patience and I'm the devil, then what am I going to do? I'm going to make you mad. I'm going to make you angry. And God's like, but I'm smarter and better. So also, not only what would the devil do, but more importantly, what would God do? What would Jesus do? He would choose patience over anger, over a reactionary response. Simple things like that. I was just always able to be like, oh, this makes so much sense. And just like very timely attacks. Even with this, when I first decided, I was like, okay, I'm going to start this podcast. My first episode, oh my gosh, guys, I can like talk about it now. My first episode was a nightmare. First of all, like I didn't really know what I was doing, so that's going to be tough anyways. But it's like audio's not recording, camera's crashing out. no storage, card full. So then I go buy another card. It's the wrong size. And I go return it. And it's like, I was just getting so upset. I'm like, seriously? I'm literally just trying to film a stupid podcast video, like, for God. And I was getting so worked up. But God is like, Allison, did you not see this coming? It's like, if you're trying to use your voice for my glory now, if you're really trying to do something and like spread the word of God and hopefully reach a bunch of people and have some impactful messages, if I'm the devil, what am I doing? I'm going to make your card storage full. I'm going to throw some, like, your mic's not going to work. Yeah, like, I'm going to throw some stuff your way. And guess what? Recognize that, realize that, and overcome. Because honestly, a lot of the tests and the trials, it's just a sign that, like, you're on the right path and you're winning. And I can't say that for everything. And, like, not everything is a test and trial. Like, sometimes it's someone, like, sinning against you. Like, this is going to sound like a crazy analogy, but I do mean this genuinely. Like, technical difficulties is different from, like, an abusive parent. You know, like, not everything is a test and a trial. It's like, that's, I'm talking about kind of inconveniences, tests and trials where it's like, my camera's not sinning against me. There's also where people are choosing to sin and it hurts you and it impacts you. That's kind of in its own category, I guess, that I'm not really speaking on today. And I do care about that, but I'm just talking like general, like kind of run of the mill life, not these tragic life events or huge life blessings, kind of just all the average stuff. Where do we see God and where can we apply this to our life? So I kind of want to make that known. I don't want to be sitting here sounding super negative that life is just trial, test, and you're like, wait, I actually don't want to know God because it sounds like my life is just going to get harder and harder and harder. No, there's blessings too, but sometimes we'll be tested to receive those blessings okay, just here's an example. So I remember, this is like more of a recent example. I was reading over Romans 12. Pause. Sorry, I get so off topic. It's so hard for me to clip these videos because I get going down 10 million tangents. I'm doing it again. Okay. Pause. This is why I think having a journal is so, so important, and like journaling to God, writing out your prayers and then writing when he answers. So then when things come up, when an answered prayer comes up where it's just kind of like, you know when you pray for something and then it's like God kind of, he opens up the path for that to happen and then it happens and then you kind of forget that was once like not even on the radar. Like God was doing that for me. And I'll speak to this example, but it's like if I flip back to like a month or 2 months before in my journal and I realized I'm praying for this thing, like I didn't have it at all in any capacity. And now it's like, just because I saw it gradually happen doesn't mean he didn't fully just answer that prayer. So that's why I think journaling is important. And then also it's like, if you're asking God to help you with this or to sanctify you with this or bring up the parts of me that you don't like, that you want to change, and you see these reoccurring things, when they pop up in your life, you can look back in your journal and be like, oh, that's what it is. Like this isn't coming out of nowhere. And then you kind of know how to fight the battle and how to win. Okay, so a recent blessing for me is I just moved into this apartment in June. So before this, I was in a little studio, and I loved it and she was so cute. But I was praying, like, I originally wanted like a 2-bedroom in this place and with a roommate. I'm not like that. And I got a studio when I first moved in, and then I could kind of see, I was like, God was like slowly like kind of inching me back to like a 2-bedroom. And I was like, well, I don't know how that's going to work. And then like roommate stuff, it's been amazing. My like friend that I met through the building, mwah, love you, Elena. But at one point I was like in my studio and I was praying and I was like, I could kind of see the doors opening about a 2-bedroom, which I was like, okay, that's not going to happen. I'm going to be in this studio for at least 2 years. And I kind of saw like some doors opening and I was like, okay, God, I'm ready to revisit if you're ready to revisit this conversation. And I started like when praying about this thing and asking him, like, I would love to live in a 2-bed. If you can make it happen, please. If you can give us this unit, please, like yada, yada. And I would tell him like how I would use it for his glory. Cause like when we're asking for something in Jesus's name, it should be for Jesus's glory. Like you can't ask in his name and then it be for you or in vain. So when I was praying and asking for this and, you know, showing him like, hey, you can entrust me with this. I'm going to use my house to host others and to be hospitable, because that was my biggest gripe with my studio is I have the hospitality gift in me, but I was like, I just can't do it here. Like I don't feel comfortable because I care about hospitality so much. I don't feel comfortable inviting people over into such a small environment because I feel like they are not comfortable here. Like I want all of my guests to have a good experience. There's not really many places to sit. My bed is literally right there. Like I didn't feel comfortable. Like I was kind of like not arguing with God, but I was bringing up to him some frustrations. Like, you gave me the gift of hospitality. It's challenging because I don't feel like I can be hospitable with what you've given me. If you want to entrust me with more, I promise I will be hospitable and I will use it for your glory. I will invite people over. I will cook people meals. I will let people stay here. Like, I will use it for you and for your people and whoever needs it. Like, this isn't just going to be for me. Kind of like, and also it's good for me to recognize that my blessings are not just for me. That's a fact. So was praying about that. And, in Romans 12, verse 13 says, when God's people are in need, be ready to help them. Always be eager to practice hospitality. Loved that. So I would hang on to that verse. And I was like, I'm eager. Like, I've got to be eager to help them. I've got to practice hospitality. If you give this to me, I promise I'm going to steward it wisely and well. And ended up getting the apartment. I'm obviously here, moved in June. And then I think the next month. So I get this apartment. Amazing. Love it. And, I'm kind of caught up in ooh, I'm in a new apartment. And I have my friends over and I have family over and I have people over and it's been great. And I get a text from a girl that I have not talked to in 5 years. And she's great. We just don't keep in touch really. And she texted me. I don't know how, I didn't even have her number. And she was like, hey, I'm passing through Chicago. I don't have anywhere to stay on Friday night. Is there any way I could come stay at your apartment? And there was some hesitation in me. It was difficult because I was already having someone else stay that weekend too. So I was like, the couch is already taken. I guess my original guest can then stay in my bed with me and then you can stay in the couch or whatever. And I'm thinking and I'm bargaining. And at first I'm like, no, it's not convenient. It doesn't work. I want to be a good host to my original guest that I was coming. And, I want to give her the attention. My friends can only come a few weekends out of the year or something. I want to give them my full attention. I want to give them a good time, a good experience. I don't want to throw off her plans. But then the Lord was just convicting me. He was like, oh, but I thought you said you were going to be eager to practice hospitality. So is that not true? And I was like, you're right. And it's not that I didn't want this girl to stay, but I was just thinking convenience. And rarely is God's way ever the convenient way. And that's what should make us so radically loving and hospitable, is that I'm going out of my way to love you. It is not convenient, but I care for you so much that I'm going to do this. Because God, you think dying on the cross was convenient for him? No. So go out of your way to love and help others and welcome them. And God just convicted me. He's like, why is this even up for a question? And I was like, I don't even know why this is up for a question, because I would love to see this girl that I haven't seen in so long. I'm amazed and humbled that she felt comfortable even asking me to stay in my place, and we haven't seen each other or talked in so long. So I was like, yes. I mean, why would I not? Why would I not let her in? This is exactly why God gave me this place to do it. And she came and she stayed, and it was an amazing little couple hours together. She stayed Friday night and then just left Saturday morning. It was literally no big deal. My friend stayed in my bed with me. It worked out great. And that was and that's a blessing. This is a blessing. And it felt like a test in the moment. It's not a test. I'm just really glad that God was able to be oh wait, but weren't we praying about this? Isn't this what you said you were going to do if I gave you this? Yes, you're right. So this is what I'm talking about, of life in between the lines. When we read this, or when we're praying for something, and when God's trying to instill a principle into us, or if he's even trying to bless us, see it for what it is. And I think a lot of things will go a lot smoother. I just think it's really cool and such a blessing to literally be a friend of God. God is just, it's so crazy how he's just working in all of our lives. Little things like that. Where he'll just put a thought in our mind. He's like, text her, do this, sends this our way. He is just working in all of our lives, literally just trying to perfect us, just trying to make us better. And we don't always let him. And we don't see these trials for what they are. And me, I know sometimes it's just I crazy overreact when God's like, no, this is a very simple thing. You just need to do this. This is what we've been talking about. And you just need to overcome, and then we can get past it. I just think it's so cool and such a privilege to be friends with God, because life does feel like a game kind of with him. And I know it's okay, sometimes this game is really hard. No games are really this hard. But also some things, we've got to be honest, some things are way easier than they should be. And it's how in the world did that work out? That should not have worked out the way that it did. We all know everything is going to work out okay. And we freak out during the journey, but it's like, I know it's going to be okay. And sometimes that's why we freak out, is because like, I know it's going to be okay, but I just need to like get it off my chest or something. But why is it going to be okay? Why? Because you have a loving God looking after you, holding your life in his hands. That's why it's going to be okay, because God works everything out for the good of those who love him. It doesn't just happen by accident. Yes, this life is hard and it's tough and we have trials and we have sufferings, but also it's way easier than it should be. And things just magically fall into place, and that's God's hand. Reverting back a little bit, you know how I said that God has like gifted me with the ability to see like zoom out and be like, all right, well, think of if I was the devil, like if you're trying to do this good thing, if I was the devil, what would I do? Literally that, literally throw in a roadblock. Like engagement season. A lot of people talk about all of the like trials of engagement season. It's like, here's a very simple one. I haven't even told Isaiah this, but it's like, okay, we get engaged. Never had a dream of him cheating on me ever. Oh, all of a sudden I'm getting a dream of him cheating on me. It's like, yeah, I didn't even tell him because like I was not tripping over it, really. But some girls do. Like, it can be hard. It's like, why did you do that? It's like, yeah, if I was the devil, that's exactly what I would do too. Like, you're not cool, you're not smart. But then also it's like, if I was God, what would I do? I would test your engagement, make you go through fire, so then you come out better on the other side. I don't want to give the devil too much credit because he's a little loser. But God allows these things to teach us these things because every trial produces fruit. James 1. Thank you. Wow, I didn't even mean to just slide right into that. Okay, James 1. I'm sure you've heard this a bunch of times, but you've probably heard it while going through a very hard trial, and I want to offer it with a slightly different, more upbeat perspective. Okay, James 1, verse 2. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. And I know that's so hard to hear when you're going through a trial. It's like, oh, but this is just, it's producing endurance in you. And at the end of this, like, you'll be good. It's like, thanks, this sucks. But I do kind of want to offer it. I mean, that is still true. It's just kind of harder to accept. Some trials are a lot deeper and tougher than, oh, here I have my favorite cup and then I spill it on me, And then going down further in chapter 1 to verse 12, God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterward, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. Truly, like, it's just never for nothing. Like, in this game, think of you like literally leveling up. Every time you're able to recognize like a stupid little inconvenience as just the devil trying to throw you off your path, it's like, okay, I see you. You're stupid. Conquer. I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to pray for that person. I'm going to forgive that person. I'm not going to overreact. I'm going to speak kindly. It's like, I'm going to let the fruit in me just take over, and I'm going to let the sin in me just die and be squashed. Every time it's like literally leveling up. Like, just think of gemstones just popping up, and like, you want to get to heaven and God's like, redeem your coins. You've done good. Here's your crown. It is a game. It's so hard to have that perspective when you're going through a very tough time. But any trial of any kind, no matter how hard or how easy or I guess time consuming, sometimes a trial is years long and you're like, this is never ending. Sometimes a trial is like an hour of the day. But just know that no matter how big or how small, and I'm sure the greater the testing, the greater the reward. I can tell you that. God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterward, they will receive the crown of life God has promised. You won't might receive it. You will receive it. So I hope that can encourage you. So also, if you want a book recommendation, I'm also recommending this to myself because I have not read it. But this topic today, I'm like, wow, I need to read this. The Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis, I think is like pretty much talking about exactly what I'm doing. I think it's basically written from the devil's perspective of like, if I was the devil, what would I do? And it's like cause division politically, cause division through this. It's like every little area of your life, like what would I do? And kind of, I don't want to say like think of life like that because that kind of is a terrible way to live, but just every little inconvenience. It's like, oh, now all of a sudden I'm having dreams of my fiance cheating on me. It's like, well, yeah, because you're engaged. It's like, think of everything you're trying to do for God. Like, keep your eyes on Jesus and walk towards him. And then when these temptations come your way, just like, it's almost like a telltale sign of like, you're on the right path. You're doing exactly what God is calling you to do. These temptations correlate to the blessings. So once you overcome that, you're going to do that. And it's almost like, okay, I'm pursuing this thing. I don't feel tests. I start pursuing this thing for the Lord. Now I'm getting tested and tried. It's like, Yeah, the devil's scared. Keep doing it. So see everything through the lens of God. Everything is a blessing. I know that sounds crazy, but everything is a blessing, and God uses everything for your good. He just redeems everything, and everything the devil uses for bad, God uses for good and for his glory. Like, it's just like, think of the cross. It's like, devil really thought he was doing something with Judas, like trying to betray him. Like, really? You actually saved the whole world's souls. It's just like, God is 10 million steps ahead. You cannot outsmart God. And if you're on Team God, he will give you his eyes. Pray that he gives you his mind and his eyes to be able to see things through him and with him and be able to conquer through him. I guess on both sides, don't hyper focus on your trials, but also don't block your blessings, because everything connects. Everything in life makes sense. Like, God knows what he's doing with your life. And you'll realize, like, I've had so many moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why that had to happen. So then this could happen. And it's like, what I thought in the moment was like a trial. It's like, no, it's just God like laying the foundation, and this had to happen. So then this happens. So then this person meets this, and this conversation happens. And then boom, blessing. Here's what I've been praying for. And I didn't see it leading up because, I can only see things from my short window. So don't hyper focus on your trials. Some of your trials aren't even trials. It's just the stepping stone that God is trying to get you up to your blessing. So it's not the end until it's the end. Don't block your blessings. Don't hyper focus on your trials. God is in everything, working through it for your good and for his glory. So yeah, I hope anything that I said today made sense. If not, come back next week. I will make sense next week. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the support. It's been amazing. This has been such a fun journey. And I will see you next week though. Bye.